the Burn and Bury Confederate Flag Memorial 2020. I am John Sims, your host. Let me give you a little bit background about this project. In 2015, 5 years ago, in honor of the 150th anniversary of the end of the Civil War, I organized a 13-state funeral for the Confederate flag on March 25th, Memorial Day. For each state correspond to the stars on the Confederate flag. All of the funerals happened at the same time, led by a group of poets, artists, and activists in each state. 3 weeks later, on June 17th, at the Emmanuel AME Church in Charleston, South Carolina, 9 African Americans were shot dead at the hands of Dylann Roof in a brutal massacre. The Charleston murders led to my call to burn and bury the Confederate flag in all 50 states on the following 4th of July. This led to the creation of the annual Burn and Bury Memorial event. The goal of this annual action is to create an expression of resistance to symbols and the behavior of white supremacy and Confederate symbols of terrorism that continue to flourish under the Trump administration and the current COVID-19 pandemic. And it's also a way to honor the memory of social justice soldiers who have fought against slavery and for civil rights and everywhere in between, and those who continue to fight against contemporary institutional cultural white supremacy. This annual event seeks to create a new ritual for all to engage in moment and space of healing and transformation in the context of trauma from the transatlantic slavery trade. Now, while politics and art can be very important agents of social change, it is the space where art and politics become ritual, that values and responsibilities are repeatedly shaped, reinforced, and sometimes transformed into a formidable collective consciousness for healing and inspiration. And when rituals as a dynamic social system goes beyond a one-time event, goes beyond the abstraction and protection of art, there is an opportunity to integrate the theme of work into everyday life where it is needed most. From Juneteenth to Passover, we need these sacred rites of passage to create reflection and cultural definition, informed by responsibility to social justice activism born out of trauma and pain. As an artist, I recognize the complexity and limits of art and politics to create and maintain social change. And in fact, it's often critical loss such as death of fear of death, which motivates such discrete changes. We saw this played out in the Charleston 9 situation. We saw this with Cheney, Goodman, and Swerner. We saw this in Kent State. But there must be better ways other than death or silence. Change happens through education, cross-cultural experiences in the ritual space. We see these changes on the dance floors, in the concert halls, college classrooms, and even in the military. We need more cross-cultural rituals to confront the pain of the American past. And more specifically, we need more American rituals to deal with the Confederate flag, American slavery and racism, and the associated pain. Today, I'm honored to present to you Burn and Bury 2020, featuring writer, activist Bomani, poet Sylvia Locklock, maker, artist Michaela Pilar Brown, poet, performance artist Roberta Estrella D'Alva, poet, artist Christine Hall, poet, writer Kim Hunter, and the Tampa Bay Social Justice Campaign Truth Shine, and interdisciplinary artist Aaron Wilder. So I want to thank you all for coming and participating in today's Burn and Bury 2020. So we're going to start off with Sylvia, who is going to give us some update about the news of the Confederate flag in last year. Let's give it up for Sylvia. Sylvia, are you there? Hello?
Hey there.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, nothing. Happy Memorial Day. And not so happy Memorial Day, all considered, but you know, we're in it. We're in it.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for being on here and being a part of this. And you know you're a very, very special person. Let me talk a little bit about you. You got this online show. You're a published author, founder of an online radio network. Dang. You host this show called Uprising Radio, presenting poetry in the raw on Mondays. So we got to give you a shout out for that.
Thank you.
You also present this show called No Host Bars on Fridays. So we're going to give you a little love.
Thank you.
Here today. Also like to mention that you were one of the my participants for the Afro Dixie remixes at City Lights 2018, where you threw down, gave an incredible, impactful, powerful presentation there. So it's good to have you here. So what's on your mind?
You know, there has been, it's amazing to me. Right. But in Benton, Kentucky, there was a flap over the placement and subsequent removal of a Confederate flag at a Kentucky County courthouse. This whole thing was because the Sons of Confederate, I believe it was the Sons of the Confederacy, make sure I got that right, purchased a Confederate flag to honor April as Confederate History Month. The Sons of Confederate Veterans paid for it and raised it in the state building. Right. Well, they got approval to do it from the county commissioner, who didn't ask anyone. He basically went ahead and told them they could do it. There was a huge flap about it. And what they wound up doing was very discreetly taking it back down and then saying that they would not raise it again until there was a full vote. They wouldn't do anything. Right. Not raise it, but not make a decision until there was a full vote. It can be noted that they are one of the strongholds of the Ku Klux Klan, and I believe they reported their African American population as none yet.
Wow.
It was an interesting lookup, and what I find is that when you're looking for Confederate flag news, you would think it would not be behind. But no, Arkansas, yet another hotbed of civil rights injustice. An Arkansas House panel rejected for the second time a proposal to change the meaning of a star on its flag. There's 3 stars under Arkansas and 1 star above it. And the 1 star above Arkansas represents the Confederacy. In fact, if you see, I wish you guys had seen the video, but if you can see the Arkansas flag, it is as if you took the Confederate flag, cut it in half, pulled it apart, and put it back together, and then put some more stars. So basically they said, we want that to mean the Confederacy. They have an upside down star under their name that actually represents the United States, and 2 right side up stars above the United States that represent the 2 countries that owned them before the United States, which would be, I believe, Spain and France.
Right.
Just in the fact that there is such a discussion, and it's a heated discussion, and then the end is I think we still want to be a part of the Confederacy. It's kind of a backhanded slap.
Right. So it's amazing to me during this coronavirus thing, we're seeing more and more Confederate flags. Why do you think that is?
Well, I can say with certainty that the coincidence during the COVID virus that you have African Americans, brown people in general, brown people being the ones most highly likely to die from it, and the sudden push to have this freedom. Everybody's dying to go to work. Everyone's dying to go to work, literally dying to go to work. And thinking more so of that when they believe in their heads that they are less at risk. The white supremacist symbolism is going to come up at a time when the opportunity to kill a bunch of brown people with a disease, it's almost as though God is speaking to them in their heads, or they're drinking too much tequila, who knows?
Right.
But my honest opinion on that is that you're going to see more symbols of white supremacy at a time when anyone is afraid, because it feeds on fear to begin with, and the presidency that we're in. Honestly, he might as well have just worn his white robe during the entire campaign.
Right. It's crazy.
It definitely is.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for doing that research, and I want to thank you for doing what you do. And as you can tell, this is going to be an ongoing art therapy situation. Right?
Well, you've given me a great project, right, and so I look forward to being able to finish it.
Working on the video element, and we're going to finish that. We'll put that out there and get that out. And I know that's going to be a very visual. But I think right now it's very important for people to hear the news, to know that this is a very active problem, and it's still very serious. So I want to thank you so much, and let's give it up for Sylvia.
Thank you, John. Thank you so much, and thank you for this platform. Yeah, you really are doing wonderful work, and we so appreciate you.
Everybody, this is very short notice, but a lot of things are short notice, I guess.
Life.
All right, let's give it up to Sylvia. Thank you so much. All right, I want to move on right now to Roberta. Roberta, are you in the house? We switch Roberta in for a minute, and let's get Roberta. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes. Thank you. Roberta, it's so great to have from Brazil. I met her a long time ago. I don't even remember how many years, but I was trying to get my project down to Americana, this town that we're going to talk about a little bit. It's this town that many Confederates after the Civil War went down to start a little town with an invitation of the Emperor of Portugal, I believe, and they've been down there, many of them, ever since. And so I've always been interested in that, and in that process, I hooked up with Roberta, who is doing incredible work, both as a performance artist, as a scholar, as a producer, like a music person. You're all over the place. Welcome to what's going on. So what I would like to do is, I remember I worked on his Afro Dixie remixes, and I gave one version of that was a samba bossa nova version, and I gave that to you and asked you to create something to that. You came up with a piece, and then now we have this video. So I like to present that, and then afterwards we can talk more about your response, but also what's going on in Brazil right now. It's crazy. So let's get this going. Thank you so much for being with us here.
Thank you.
Yes.
In São Paulo, the city I live in Brazil, imagine there's a place called Americana. That means American. A Vila dos Americanos, the village of the Americans, known by this name because received Confederate refugees in the beginning of the century 20. Lots of reasons brought the Confederates to Brazil, but considering that it was the last independent country in America to abolish slavery, maybe, and just maybe, the main reason was that these people could remain senhores de escravos. I mean, slave masters. Heritage, not hate. Heritage, not hate. Heritage, not hate. Heritage, not hate. Olha lá, olha lá, olha lá, Dixieland. Look away, look away. Look away, I can see coming, we came from the same sea. Guys, the time is now, the moment has arrived. Sábado, domingo, Cangola me chamou. Tava dormindo, Gangoma me chamou, disse levanta povo, o cativeiro já acabou. Disse levanta povo, cativeiro já acabou. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Angela Davis, Luísa Marinho, Patrick Lumumba, Milka Cabral, Solano Trindade, Mestre Lineu, Malcolm X, James Brown, Silvio Bico, João Campos, Bob Marley, Rui Pennington, Martin Luther King, pastor na vida e na morte, guerreiro do mártir da libertação e de todos os mártires da paz. Perseguida, abolitionists, warriors, guerrilheiros, lutadores, quilombolas. E todos que lutaram e deram a vida que pudessem estar aqui agora. Nesse momento estamos em cena, pedimos a todos a participar. And in the past, the permission to start has been given to us. Olhos meus santos, abro meu canto, me visto de fé, de amor e de paz. Vejo uma estrela se aproximando, toda a grandeza dos orixás. O brilho da lua, do ferro, do fogo, da terra, da lama, do vento e do mar. Peço licença e vou chegando. Respeito e humildade. Eu quero é cantar. I know my brothers and sisters, here or there, same cotton, same hate, same black kid again, same will to see the justice, same blood shed in vain. Stop. I wish I was in DC. I wish I was in America. I wish I was anywhere, free and alive. Epa babá, Oxalá. Epa babá. Oxalá, meu pai, tenha pena de nós, tenha dó. Se a volta do mundo é grande, seus poderes é bem maior. Oxalá, meu pai, tenha pena de nós, tenha dó. Se a volta do mundo é grande, seu poder é bem maior.
Wow, congratulations, Roberta, on that. That was
Thank you.
You brought the power and the story. I mean, I think people need to know more about what connects not only African Americans with Afro-Brazilians and the struggle, and also that particular Confederate history. So what are you thinking? Tell me what you're thinking. I'm excited to hear.
Hi, good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, everybody. I speak Portuguese. I live in Brazil, São Paulo. You listen to me?
Yes,
but
yes.
I'll try to speak my mind in English.
Yes,
Hope
yes,
you
yes,
understand. And when John told me about Americana, I knew the city, Americana, but I didn't know that it's called Americana because of the Confederates. And I went there to research. And when I saw what happened there, I said, well, we have this connection, and this connection is slavery. Brazil was the last country to abolish slavery, and the consequences of it, the diseases, the mental, emotional, all the bad things that it brought to us, we are seeing today, as we are seeing today in America. I said in this chant, in some part, same black kid again. So we are seeing that. 1 week ago, they killed João Pedro, a black boy of 14 years old here in Brazil, inside the Rio de Janeiro favela slum, inside his house. So you tell boys, watch out outside, but inside with 70 gunshots, 70 in a house. He was playing inside the house. And I know there were cases very recently in America, so it's the same black kid again. And it doesn't stop. And we are discussing here in some groups, some activist groups, that we are making all these complainings and go to the internet. But what are we going to do? Because the rage that it's causing in people, when we are feeling that we can stop this. And John said about rituals in the beginning, and I think that's why in the symbolic way, this burn and bury flags is important, because it's a way. In Brazil, we have an expression that says fogo nos racistas. It means fire on the races, like to burn the races. And it's sometimes considered violent by white people, fire in the races. But that was it. We have to burn and bury these. And sometimes here also these, like, I know that in the US there is sometimes people say, no, we are using the flag because of the heritage. This is not racist. And I saw in Americana reading about articles about it. They were saying, no, this has nothing to do with KKK. Has nothing. It's not our heritage here in Brazil. Our grandmothers and blah blah blah. And we know what in the end this means. And when people hear, for example, we had a play a few years ago that had blackface. Imagine blackface in like 2015, and people in the theater will say, no, but we have the right of express ourselves. And the discussion was going, and they were mediating this conflict, said, people, the right of expression can't be bigger than the right of life. If your expression, if you're using this, is killing people, come on, this is killing. You have to be alive. So summarizing, I think what connects us is this awful heritage that can come from slavery, and all these slave masters, that they were not gone. They are still around. It was just, and in Brazil right now, Bolsonaro is a representative, a big representative of these people. They were just expecting. In Brazil, we had almost 400 years of slavery, a dictatorship, and less than 100 years of democracy. So we were learning to have a democracy, and we don't have these repairs from like affirmative politics from slavery, not even from dictatorship. So we are paying the price of nothing have this correctly look at in the eyes of the slavery and the dictatorship. So summarizing, they are killing the kids inside the houses, outside the house. Our kids, your kids, it's what is connecting us. Our people are still dying.
Wow. Well, I want to thank you for all the work that you're doing there. This is very important. We are definitely living in a global landscape that promotes, sustains, and maintains white supremacy in a serious kind of way. And it's going to require a very strong, consistent pushback. And I think artists, academics, activists, even entrepreneurs are going to have to, we just got to be at the forefront of that. And I know you've been doing that work on so many levels. And I want to thank you for not just this work around dealing with Americana, but also dealing with just some of the general issues. You got a very interesting president. You got interesting things going on, and we too. And the Trump administration is just incredible. So I want to thank you for your work. And also, I think we're going to be. I'm going to be interviewed in a Brazilian magazine. I think this video is going to be a part of that, and so I'm really happy about that connection. And again, thank you so much for.
Thank you, brothers and sisters.
And let's give it up for Roberta.
Thank you. Let's keep together and fighting against this monster that is racism.
And you can check out everybody here who's performing. Check out the comment pages, leave comments also, and check out these individual creators on your own, because they're doing incredible work. Thank you, Roberta. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So now we have, let's see, we got Aaron Wilder up next. And he is also a very incredible artist. Are you there, Aaron?
Yes, I'm here.
Let's switch you in. Thank you, first of all, for being here. Are you there?
Yeah, thank you for inviting me to participate, John. This is great.
Definitely. And so you're in Chicago right now, is that right?
Yeah, I'm in Chicago now.
Wow. So I am very excited about you being here today. You've been doing a lot of stuff, particularly around the Confederate flag. You're interdisciplinary artists. You also curate shows. I mean, God, what don't you do? It's like you blur the boundaries between the analog and the digital, the public and the private, and the unassuming and the investigative. Well, that says it all. It's good to have you here, Aaron. Let's give it up for Aaron Wilder.
All right. Well, thanks again, John, for inviting me to participate today. I'm really honored to be a part of this year's event, Burn and Bury. It was great to hear Sylvia and Roberta about the research and the works that they're doing. And I look forward to hearing from the other participants later on as well. Today, I'll be sharing part of a video and installation project called You Have the Right to Remain Silent. I worked on the initial version of this project from 2015 to 2016, and it's inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement as well as the civil rights movement. And the content of this project is heavily indebted to the important work being done by mappingpoliceviolence.org. So today I'll be sharing a modified and updated version of this project to reflect upon the importance of memorializing on this day, Memorial Day. So let's start the video.
All right, here we go.
You have the right to remain silent. Do words such as those always retain their power? I may be white, but I refuse to be blinded by the myth that we live in a post-racial society. Given the countless examples of racial tension present constantly in national media, the contemporary moment is clearly not colorblind. Maybe it is an example of what Dr. King referred to as the tranquilizing drug of gradualism back in August 1963. You have the right to remain silent. What authority figure's face is truly behind the racial turmoil of our present? We have the tendency to be insatiable when it comes to pointing the finger at anyone but ourselves. We must pay attention to see the truth at our national core, to unmask the ugly face beneath the residue of racism, to reveal what is concealed, to continue dramatizing this shameful condition. It is still racism. Many would point to the Confederate flag as ground zero, but there continues to be neither rest nor tranquility in the South or elsewhere, as we can see from 2019 alone. Wallace Wilder, Gordo, Alabama. Javon Ousley, Talladega, Alabama. Christopher McCorvey, Tillman's Corner, Alabama. Bishar Hassan, Anchorage, Alaska. Mohammed Ahmed Al-Hashemi, Tempe, Arizona. Marzuz Scott, Blytheville, Arkansas. Tramone Savage, Jacksonville, Arkansas. Bradley Blackshire, Little Rock, Arkansas. D'Angelo Jamar Brown, West Memphis, Arkansas. Daryl Allen, Adelanto, California. Tevionte Art Emanuel, Anaheim, California. Malik Ali Gresham, Gardena, California. Maurice Holly, Harold, California. Nathaniel Pinnock, Hollywood, California. Brian Leslie Statler, Inglewood, California. Jordan Michael Griffin, Long Beach, California. Stephen Murray, Modesto, California. Charles Ballard, San Leandro, California. Nathaniel Holland, Vacaville, California. Eric Reason, Vallejo, California. Miles Hall, Walnut Creek, California. Ryan Twyman, Willowbrook, California. Shamichael Jackson, Aurora, Colorado. Kevin Leroy Beasley Jr., Denver, Colorado. Latasha Nicole Walton, Miami, Florida. Jean Samuel Celestin, Ocoee, Florida. Ben Fields, Port St. Lucie, Florida. Romello Barnes, Tampa, Florida. Omar Shadow Stevens, West Palm Beach, Florida. Jimmy Atchison, Atlanta, Georgia. Detrick Griffin, Atlanta, Georgia. D'Angelo Rashad Martin, Atlanta, Georgia. Tevin Blount, aka Tevin Lamar Page, Dublin, Georgia. Preston Alexander Coleman, Dublin, Georgia. Bruce W. Carter Jr., Joliet, Illinois. Arthur Walton Jr., Maywood, Illinois. Eric Jack Logan, South Bend, Indiana. Jontez Anthony Mitchell, Jeffersontown, Kentucky. Christopher Whitfield, Ethel, Louisiana. Chris Joseph, Gretna, Louisiana. Daviri Robertson, Gretna, Louisiana. Joseph DeLon Richardson, Port Allen, Louisiana. Marcus Bowles, Shreveport, Louisiana. Kevin Bruce Mason, Baltimore, Maryland. Jamal Ramon Taylor, Cockeysville, Maryland. Leonard Shand, Hyattsville, Maryland. Emmanuel David Joshua Oates, Randallstown, Maryland. Marquis Weems, Rockville, Maryland. Kobe Heisler, Brooklyn Center, Minnesota. Ronald Davis, St. Paul, Minnesota. Mario Clark, Jackson, Mississippi. George Robinson, Jackson, Mississippi. Dominique Clayton, Oxford, Mississippi. Frederick Perkins, Chesterfield, Missouri. Julius Jules Graves, St. Louis, Missouri. Byron Williams, Las Vegas, Nevada. Nikilo Dwayne Graves, Mercury, Nevada. Jamal Smith, City of Orange, New Jersey. Alan Feliz, Bronx, New York. Tawaski Trewick, Bronx, New York. Kwesi Ashun, Brooklyn, New York. Dwayne Watkins, Syracuse, New York. Brandon Lavelle Webster, Charlotte, North Carolina. Roy McAllister, Wilson, North Carolina. Alex Johnson, Defiance, Ohio. McDuff Lamarco Robinson, Mansfield, Ohio. Matthew Burrows, Niles, Ohio. Elijah Collins III, Sugar Creek, Ohio. Isaiah Lewis, Edmond, Oklahoma. Jaquan Derek Dijon Thompson, Poto, Oklahoma. Andre C. Gladen, Portland, Oregon. Darren Williams, Linwood, Pennsylvania. Sean Stevens, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Osais Osagi, State College, Pennsylvania. Derek Smith, Walterboro, South Carolina. Chanara Tom Feet, Knoxville, Tennessee. James Lee Kirkwood, Memphis, Tennessee. Antonio Smith, Memphis, Tennessee. Abdullahi Thiam, Memphis, Tennessee. Brandon Weber, Memphis, Tennessee. Nicholas Walker, Arlington, Texas. Pamela Shante Turner, Baytown, Texas. Marcus McVeigh, Boerne, Texas. Daniel E. King, Corpus Christi, Texas. Tatiana Jefferson, Fort Worth, Texas. Patricia Spivey, Houston, Texas. Demetrius Williams, Marshall, Texas. Lee Edwards Pete Hopkins, Nacogdoches, Texas. Michael Lorenzo Dean, Temple, Texas. Bobby Ray Duckworth, Wellington, Utah. Ansoa Strickland Jr., Auburn, Washington. Mantry Norris, Renton, Washington. Dwight Delando Stewart, Spokane, Washington. Benny Branch, Tacoma, Washington. You have the right to remain silent. If injustice is withering, why do so many continue to sear in its flames? The chains of discrimination and racism in America continue to be perpetuated, fortified, exacerbated by the prison industrial complex and other structural apparatuses continued from the slave plantation. By prioritization of militant nationalism over equality and unity among human beings and between humanity and the planet. By sexism, homophobia, and transphobia, further disempowering any possible unity of the colonized masses. By an institutionalized concept of Christianity, damning that which is contrary to the power majority. By an education system focused on tuition and graduation metrics over critical thinking skills. By our short-sighted mentality and focus on instant gratification. And by the economics of insatiable consumption, otherwise referred to as the American dream. You have the right to remain silent. It may seem paradoxical for a white man to remind America of ever-present racism, but I do not want to continue being an accomplice to complicity. You and I are responsible for changing this reality. We may both appreciate the feeling of safety that comes with the familiarity of our comfort zone, but there is the inevitable enunciation of truth that there is something wrong with our self-delusion of significant progress since 1963. We cannot be satisfied as long as fellow human beings continue to be staggered by the winds of police brutality. There is more to the South than just racism. There is more to racism than just the South. You have the right to remain silent. Thank you. So I'll just note, as I mentioned, some sources for this work. The data was provided by mappingpoliceviolence.org. And as I mentioned, the work was predominantly inspired by the contemporary Black Lives Matter movement, as well as Dr. Martin Luther King's August 1963 speech, I Have a Dream. So I'll stop there and see.
Well, thank you, Aaron. Let's give you a round of applause. That was very, very powerful piece. Well, first of all, how did you get that flag to burn so slow?
So there's a whole side story in the background of the logistics of this project. This was, it took a lot of work. This was a 10-month project that I worked on from 2015 to 2016. So 10 months in what eventually turned into an 18-minute, 45-second video. So the one we watched is a shortened version of the video I made in 2016. And that video included all of the 203 names of the unarmed Black men and women killed by police in the years 2014 and 2015. The burning itself went a lot faster. And that was actually the second burning that I recorded or tried to record. Right. But when I made the video, it was I edited the video frame by frame so that it was elongated to be a long enough time for me to read all of the names.
Wow. Well, that's a very powerful piece. And I don't know if you know this, H.K. Edgerton, who is a pro-Confederate activist, Black man, African-American, who he goes around the South and he does all kinds of performance pieces. And he does this thing where he reads the names of the Confederates, Confederate veterans. And he hits the bell and, So that I just thought that was also interesting. I mean, but the point of being able to read these names, people's lives, you know, need to be recognized, and saying their names is a part of that memorial. And I appreciate you bringing that here today. That's a very important work, particularly in the context of creating rituals, maintaining rituals. And I know you're doing all kinds of other activist work too. So thank you, Aaron. That's very, very, very important work.
Yeah, thank you, John. Appreciate you having me here.
Yeah. So let's we're gonna move on to the next. I want to give a little background. 2000, like I said in my introduction, 2015, I organized this 13th state simultaneous funeral of the Confederate flag. Here, those are the states here. And I did that after, you know, there was a show I had earlier in 2015 in Baltimore. And it was right when the city was under lockdown because of the drama that was happening in Baltimore. And after that, I realized, wait a minute, we're living in this police state. There's work to be done. And this, and you know, and what happened in Baltimore ties into what Aaron was doing with the police brutality. And so I was like, I got to do this flag situation. So 13 flag funerals across the American South. Each of us states connected to the 13 flags in the Confederate flag, and 13 teams. Each state had a team of poets and artists, and I want to give a shout out to the poets. I think the poets are so important for this kind of activism because not only they provide inspiration, they also provide words and language in a very powerful way to get folks centered and directed, and also provide the kind of language that we can look back on to reflect. And so I appreciate all the poets that were a part of this. So what I would like to do now is to play, part of that we did this 13 eulogies. Each of those teams had a poet, and we did like a compilation. And I like to mention, you know, I think Zoom is awesome. I wish it was around 5 years ago when I put this together. I had to hire a programmer to actually create like our own personal Zoom situation where we wanted to stream in all of these events at the same time on one website. And but here we have this. I want to get to this and show you this video, the 13 eulogies.
Good evening. Many years ago, a group of men brought forth on this continent a new nation conceived in liberty, implemented through the genocide of the Native.
Knowing that I walk atop the bones of my ancestors, in the shadow of their oppressors, towering statuesque above me, I cannot look down without feeling the puzzled pieces of my past beckon me back together. I cannot look up without feeling the weight of history break me into pieces. I cannot leave this ground and feel whole. I cannot stand it either without its heavy sky, pummeling my dreams into nightmares.
Felt for the threads and the folds. Felt for my hands, my fingers aflame, licking the threads, a durable blend of polyester cotton, Dixieland bile, and rotten sentiment, licked away, licked away, licked away in my hands. Felt for the dead in the folds, dragged, shot, and strung, but no thread could hold the dead in place.
150 years after the fact, and yet you still fly unreconstructed. So we gotta go again to commit you to the old, put you in the ground, bury you now and forever. This is symbolic. We know we do here and there, not without immediate end to the deeply ingrained system of racial abuse, white supremacy, institutionalized poverty, the school to prison pipeline, disparities in access to healthcare and education and housing and more. It won't end that.
surviving on the boiling blood of this rich history, yet poor representation given there was no victory. The Confederate battle flag has 150 years of post-mortem activity, a zombie-like tradition that would hold on to past memories and suggest I get over it. I suggest we lay it to rest. I suggest we stop pretending it has nothing to do with the enslaved and oppressed. When loss of your wealth, prosperity, and way of life is what they threaten you with, and the condition of subordinates is all that's in the way.
Searching for Abraham Lincoln, the belated burial of the Confederate flag. Visited Springfield, flew to Louisville, drove Bardstown Road to St. Catherine College, then on to the Starving Artist Cafe. Welcome to Springfield, Kentucky. Wandered Main Street, side streets, lost for hours. Small suitcase weighed down with hippie words. The Emancipation Proclamation, the Gettysburg Address, Abraham Lincoln's words, his works, his life, biography of his boyhood. He was spiritual, intuitive, psychic.
Where will you be when they come? Pat Parker. His spit would have made mud of the thick mound, might have given new life to the dry bones, could have pulled and thinned the phlegm of disgust, congesting any possibility they could conceive for redemption, but they will not come. They suck on their teeth and turn their eyes to razor-sharp slits, pull navel to spine and straighten their backs against the ceremony, and will not come.
For loved ones we mourn, for the admired we pay respects. But for symbols of oppression, banners of genocide, we remember how the stitching held together white anger. United, misguided poor against themselves to uphold the institution of slavery. And there was nothing peculiar about the carnage. Bodies unfamiliar with war torn from their centers.
First, I'd like to give honor to God, my Lord and Savior. I want to acknowledge my friends and bereaved. I say we are in the presence of those who care and would dare. Friends and enemies of the deceased and those who are actually aware. The people have spoken and laid their souls to bear. But please don't cry.
Stars and stripes, geometrics of southern covenants, elevation, written shared their greatest nation, unions were reborn. Their crosses burned, we reverenced it, await the day, amazing grace that reapers reap and do away with the grandest of dragons. Bygones are bygone, and then gone from, scorned and worn, their mother torn from, shorn and born, Messiah's born in the wilderness of north.
Never thought it would come to this. But today we just mark a really powerful moment in time. We've buried the flag. This flag represents all kinds of hate and mistrust, and we're in a new rise of consciousness right now where people are beginning to come together, and it's not about what this flag represents anymore. So as we bury it, I just want to say, good riddance.
This piece is fresh off the press. Thomas Washington, South Carolina. Well, let's give it another culture. It seems that there's this intercultural communication thing, and it's assumed that we're fishing to stir sentiment. And since my skin's the same hue as the president's, let's use, say, another culture's president. For Glamorites. These poems appeal to the 70s.
Knowing that I walk atop the moment,
First, I'd like to give honor to God, Unfinished creative work for practice humanity, where simple shall be.
All right. That was 13 eulogies. And who we have with us now? We have Christine Hall, who is one of the poets representing the great state of Tennessee. How you doing, Christine?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you for the work you do.
I can't believe it's been that long, 5 years.
Wow, it's been a big 5 years.
Yeah, a lot of stuff has happened since that time. You know, different kind of president. I mean, all kinds of stuff popped in. So,
yeah.
So how you doing? I want to thank you for being a part of that project. I know you're doing incredible work in Tennessee, and poet, gardener, mother, performance artist, MC, producer. I mean, you're working on so many levels. I want to thank you.
Well, thank you. I mean, the need for creativity is ever more greater in the face of such destruction. So I recognize and appreciate your will and follow through to use destructive energy to make creation.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what's on your mind?
Well, I mean, watching back that video just got me thinking about the live event that we had that went along with that back in 2015, and how many poets and performance artists we had there participating in that, and how much, you know, that movement is needed. Nashville has been a part of many important movements for inclusivity and basic rights and equity, and we need to keep it moving. Yeah.
Nice. Well, I want to thank you for that that piece that you did, and yeah, I mean, and also the other poets that were part of that. Yeah. So
really appreciate hearing from everybody here today, and yeah, everybody who is participating in this work. It's where it's at.
Yes. Well, I want to thank you. Unless you have something more you want to add on your mind, or I want to thank you so much. You know, that piece, I wanted to share that, particularly, you know, for the history and honor your participation.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate you, and thank you for having me here.
All right. Let's give it up for Christine Hall, everybody. All right. We're going to move on to... is Bomani in the room? Let's bring him up. We're gonna have after the 13 flag funerals, we actually what did we do? We went to, after the shooting in South Carolina, it was just traumatizing. And are you there, Bomani? Yeah. And so we went from the 13 states to all 50 states within a matter of 3 weeks. I put a call out for that. And Bomani was representing the great state of Ohio, Yellow Springs, and put that together. Yeah, so I want to hear what you got to say. I know you read something at that event almost 5 years ago, so I want you to take us back.
Yes, sir, I did. I think Sister Roberta left. I was really impacted by what she had to share was going on in Brazil, you know, really like brings home the globalization of this pseudo-Confederate philosophy, you know, that we're being subjected to over the last several years. And I wanted to add a name to the people, the brothers and sisters who got murdered by, unarmed people got murdered by police here in Ohio, not too far from me. It was a young man by the name of John Crawford III. Was gunned down in a Walmart after a 911 call. And that case is kind of still dragging on. One thing interesting about that, John and everybody, is that our current governor was Attorney General at the time, and he was running for re-election. And he has a lily white following. And it was real obvious that he drug his feet, pulled strings behind the scenes to make sure he didn't give the impression that he was seeking justice for a Black man and his family. And he went on and won his re-election as the case lingered on. The cops, they went to a grand jury, special prosecutor, who knows, those things are secretive, so you don't know what they say and what they don't say. But I'm most certain he left out incriminating evidence. The cops got off. They just settled about less than 2 weeks ago, a $1.9 million wrongful death suit, in which, of course, the city of Beaver Creek did not admit, any responsibility. You know how they do that. We're going to pay you this money, but we're not going to admit any guilt in this situation. So John Crawford III, and what was ironic about that also was that he was murdered just 4 days before Michael Brown in Ferguson. And the situation in Ferguson drew so much media attention that the John Crawford case was just kind of left here in obscurity. Where it happened was kind of a rural situation, it wasn't in a big city, and it just didn't draw much national media. There was only one guy who picked it up. I'm trying to remember his name. He used to be with News One. He has his own media business now. But so anyway, and the situation rages on, the shooting us down in the streets. One other situation I got involved in recently was they were trying to pass a big tax levy to build a $70 million county jail here in Greene County, where I live in Ohio. And we mobilized some folks and got it defeated just a short while ago. And now people are reorganizing to make sure we have some semblance of straight up criminal justice system here. If there's any such thing, it's going to be interesting. What I'm about to shift my focus to the presidential election. I really think if this guy gets reelected, a lot of people are going to die from all sorts of things: vigilante violence, cop violence, neglect, being robbed of resources. It's going to be straight up dictatorship. So that, I lose a lot of sleep over stuff like that. But I do have a short poem to share. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. This is something I just reworked, it's kind of short. It's called Set Your Soul on Fire. I got the Israelite wandering in the desert blues, the strange fruit hanging from the poplar tree blues, I got the Amadou Diallo 41 bullets crash burning through my flesh, instant death blues, the Trayvon Martin walking while black blues. I got a bad case of bumping my head against the glass ceiling blues, the can't seem to wash the grease off my bootstraps blues, the unemployment blues, the empty wallet unenjoyment blues. I got the Confederate flag waving crackers is everywhere blues, the wish I could bum rush the State House with an assault rifle and survive blues, the unrequited blues, the killer cop unindicted blues. I got the unprotected blues, the disrespected blues, the downright rejected blues, the Jim Crow recently resurrected blues. Yes, I got the stolen election blues, the stolen affection blues. I got the being black show is hard blues. And I am fucking fed up with the blues, but not the non-stop blues. I'm about to step up in your yard, fools. And I got that fire. Got that yellow and blue flame. Gonna put some righteous heat to your shameless game, and it ain't gonna be no strain. Getting ready to set a torch to your devilish dreams. Make your flag go swoosh in the night. Snap, crackle, pop. See the ashes drop. See your domination dreams rise up in smoke, and hear the people rejoice cause the truth done spoke.
Whoa. Fire, fire. Awesome, very awesome. And that's the one you did 5 years ago, right?
No, that's not that one.
Okay.
Unable to locate that one. It's
okay.
Up there in cyberspace somewhere.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you so much for that. I know you're doing all kinds of work in Ohio.
Yeah.
That's how y'all say it, Ohio.
Ohio, yeah. James Brown used to say Ohio's.
Oh man, we go way back to Antioch College, man.
Out there, man. AACW.
That's right, African American Culture Week. Oh man.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for being a part of that in the beginning.
Yes, sir, man. Thank you for laying the foundation, you know. Went on for a lot of years. We did a lot of good work, man. A lot of good intercultural, cross-cultural communication happened, and there's still some people and projects, you know, that's still impacted by that work today. You know, there's a major project in town that's very much so impacted by that early work that you laid the foundation for as just a young brother coming out of undergrad. Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, my brother.
Appreciate you a lot, John. Thanks for
having me. All right. Well, let's keep it moving and stick around at the end. We get everybody in. We have a little chat with everybody. Thank you. All right, my brother. All right. We're going to move on now. Keep it moving. We have Truth Shine. Steve, are you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
No, I know you're waiting in the cut. Are you ready?
I'm ready, sir.
I know you, but yeah, before we get down to that, I want to do a little introduction. Yeah. I just want to thank you for being here. You're about to do some incredible stuff in the Tampa Bay area. You know, I appreciate that. You and your buddy Tony Collins about to go out there and start a social justice organization in the Tampa Bay area to combat misinformation and social injustice. And I mean, you reached out to me just even recently, and that was quite inspiring. I want to appreciate that. I mean, in terms of you trying to create this campaign, and that you sort of committed to challenging white supremacy by dismantling its racist history and the institutions that sustain racial injustice. So I appreciate you. So you are going to help us. You're going to do a live burning of the Confederate flag for us.
Yes.
Am I right?
That's right.
That's right. And so we're going to get started. And I think my assistant probably have you spotlighted already, so we can go straight into you and figure out how to make that happen. So here we go. I'm going to move over to you so we can get to you live.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And we're going to bring you up to the front. Can we get him up to the front? Can we get Steve to the front?
I think I'm there.
You're there.
There.
All right, so we got you to the front. There you are, looking good. Tampa Bay on the hat. You know what I mean? All right.
Yeah, well, that's where truth is happening.
Right. All right. All right. Go ahead and talk to us. You got a little fire over there in the background? Is that what I'm seeing?
We got some fire going. It's not showing up that much in the light. Let me throw another log on there to make it a little happier. First of all, John, I want to say thank you so much for letting Truth Shine be a part of it. Really inspired by the work you have coming up in the not too distant future in the Tampa Bay area, which I'll let you do the talking about that when you're ready to do it, but we're excited about it.
Right.
It's pretty hard, I think, not to turn yourself over to the pain and sadness of Memorial Day, especially with what's going on, not just today, but in our time with the coronavirus and the pandemic. And it may sound like a little bit of a cliche, but it reminds me that when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And we need to be tough right now. We need to have the courage that so many before us have had when they courageously confronted fascists in foreign lands and racists here at home and gave their lives to do it. On Memorial Day, we're also reminded that many brave Black soldiers, sailors, who valiantly fought for our country's supremacy and racial violence was institutionalized. I woke up this morning to read an article in the New York Times that revealed that 43% of the 1.3 million men and women who are on active duty in the United States as of today are people of color, 43%. But the people making the crucial decisions, such as how to respond to the coronavirus crisis, how many troops they might send to Syria or Afghanistan, and who is going to be on the front lines, most of those decisions are made by a group of military leaders that are entirely white and male. Of the most senior rank in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, exception of 2 are white. We have 2 of the 41 4-star generals and that are Black, despite the fact that we have 43% of people of color in the military. I just want to mention something. 1925 guidance for Army officers, which stated that Black service not expect to draw leadership material. Forces when we burn this Confederate flag, I'd like to remember that we also need not just burn and purge racism from the sons and daughters of the Confederacy, but from the entire nation. And I'm really very happy to put this symbol to fire and to eventually bury it once it cools down. I want to just quickly, before I burn the flag, I want to send a shout out to my Truth Shine co-founder, Tony Collins, himself a Marine and a veteran of Vietnam, a man with a very big heart, the courage to fight the good fight every day.
Let it go, let it go, burn, let it go, let it go, burn, all that This story started many scores ago by the founding fathers, many of whom may have known of the toxic contradictions that would poison this future of this great land. From a failed reconstruction, a compromised civil rights movement, a broadened Black power movement to silence affirmative action, and countless lynchings, occurrences of police brutality, and instances of injustice, all in between. We see the consistent resistance.
Hey, Steve, are you there? Hold on.
Thank you, John.
We're here. Did it go off at 2?
Are you there, Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think your video froze. On
Yeah, okay. I think you should say that. I was wondering if Zoom went off because I pulled it up on my computer as well, and it says post attendee as though the whole thing went down.
Right. I'm still here.
Yeah, no, we're still here, but the broadcast isn't. Was the Zoom thing for an hour?
No, I don't know what's going on.
Okay. Is anybody else logged on in 2 places? Because I'm on my phone and my computer. My computer is saying the Zoom thing is over.
Right. Can't be. I think we're still here. Hold
We're
on.
still live on Facebook.
Yeah, all right, at least yeah, so I think what happened, is Steve there? I think he got lost. We might have to turn back to Steve. Let us we're gonna move back to the presentation here. And let me go ahead and get back to where we were, and I'll figure out what happened with everything. All right, everybody, let's keep it moving. All right. Yeah, I hope he didn't fall into the fire. We'll reach out to him. Okay, so what I like to do now is Michaela, are you there? Can I hear you? Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good.
Good, good. Are you there? All right.
All right.
Yeah, so, well, let me just introduce you a little bit. You are just such an incredible artist too. I mean, you're doing all kinds of stuff. I remember reaching out to you when I was looking for somebody to work with in 2005 for South Carolina. Your name came up from multiple sources. So I knew I had to track you down and try to get you involved. So I'm appreciating you being who you are and doing what you do. I know we wanted to go and right on Memorial Day 5 years ago and deal with that flag, you know, everything. And but yeah, I appreciate that energy, and to have you here today to be a part of this is very meaningful for me, and to intersect with your body of work. So welcome to Burn and Bury 2020, and thank you for being all right. So you're going to be working on a very special project. You want to tell us about that?
Well, I really consider this a work in progress. Just kind of riffing on 2 thoughts. One is the kind of incessant grief that comes with being Black in America. And that grief is rooted in racial terror. And I wanted to enact some form of weeping and wailing that honors the dead. But I also wanted to juxtapose that with this idea that we have lived this racial terror that started with slave patrols and continued on to militias and now exists with Stand Your Ground. And I wanted to know what it what it looks like, how the energy would change if the people holding the guns were Black people.
Right.
So what happens when we decide to defend ourselves? You know, what does it look like? You know, publicly, it looks like death. You know, Philando Castile was killed just for having his weapon. Ahmaud Arbery, you know, they thought it was okay to execute him because he did not follow their commands. So this idea that, you know, who has a right to defend themselves? And what does that look like? So this is me just kind of playing with those ideas. It's interesting looking back on the work, I already see things I'd like to change and ways I'd like to expand this conversation.
Yes.
But let's take a look.
Yeah, let's take a look. All right, everybody. And what's the name of the piece?
Testimony.
Testimony. All right, everybody, get ready for testimony.
Gonna write my testimony, put it under my head. All I want you to do for me is be there when I'm dead. Gonna write my testimony, put it under my head. All I want you to do for me is be there when I'm dead. Gonna write my testimony, put it under my head. All I want you to do for me is testimony, put it under my head. All I want you to do for me is be there when I'm dead. Gonna write my testimony, put it under my head. All I want you to do for me is be there when I'm dead. Gonna write my testimony, put it under my head. All I want you to do for me is be there when I'm dead. Gonna write my testimony, put it under my head. All I want you to do for me is be there when I'm dead. Gonna write my testimony, put it under my head. All I want you to do for me is be there when I'm dead. Gonna write my testimony, put it under my head. All I want you to do for me is be there when I'm dead. Gonna write my testimony, put it under my head. All I want you to do for me is be there when I'm dead. Gonna write my testimony, put it under my head. All I want you to do for me is be there when I'm dead. Gonna write my testimony, put it under my head. All I want you to do for me is be there when I'm dead. Gonna write my testimony, put it under my head. All I want you to do for me is be there when I'm dead. Gonna write my testimony, put it under my head. All I want you to do for me is be there when I'm dead. Gonna write my testimony, put it under my head. All I want you to do for me is be there when I'm dead. Gonna write my testimony, put it under my head. All I want you to do for me is be there when I'm dead. Gonna write my testimony, put it under my head. All I want you to do for me is be there when I'm dead. Gonna write my testimony, put it under my head. All I want you to do for me is be there when I'm dead. Gonna write my testimony, put it under my head. All I want you to do for me is be there when I'm dead. Gonna write my testimony, put it under my head. All I want you to do for me is be there when I'm dead. Gonna write my testimony, put it under my head. All I want you to do for me is be there when I'm dead. Gonna write my testimony, put it under my head. All I want you to do for me is be there when I'm dead. Gonna write my testimony, put it under my head. All I want you to do for me is be there when I'm dead. Gonna write my testimony, put it under my head. All I want you to do for me is be there when I'm dead. Gonna write my testimony, put it under my head. All I want you to do for me is be there when I'm dead. Gonna write my testimony, put it under my head. All I want you to do for me is be there when I'm dead. Gonna write my testimony, put it under my head. All I want you to do for me is be there when I'm dead. Gonna write my testimony, put it under my head. All I want you to do for me is be there when I'm dead. Gonna write my testimony, put it under my head. All I want you to do for me is be there when I'm dead. Gonna write my testimony, put it under my head. All I want you to do for me is be there when I'm dead. Gonna write my testimony,
under my head. All I want you to do for me is be there when I'm dead. Gonna write my testimony. Put it under my head. All I want you to do for me is be there when I'm dead.
Wow.
Well, let me just say, I don't sing. So I'm really stretching out here.
Hey, that was very powerful. That was very, very, very powerful. I just like the meditation element on that. And those some serious guns, it looks like.
Yeah, but you know, it looks really different when we're holding the guns,
That's right.
right?
That's right.
And there's a different conversation around gun control when we're holding the gun.
And in fact, the Confederate flag looks different and feels different.
Right?
When you're holding the guns, right?
Yeah. You know, I have to say, critiquing my own work, I don't think I would have used those guns against the backdrop of the Confederate flag again.
Right.
I just, it works beneath my feet, but it almost looks like a glorification.
Right, right. No, I don't think we got that. Yeah, I get the feeling that it becomes almost like a tablecloth for a higher discussion.
Yeah.
That's what I got from that. You know, so it becomes opposed to flying somewhere on the wall somewhere. It's I think it, but you know, power definitely shapes the way you view the symbols and signs in your environment, depending on what side of the power you're on.
And what about the great mythic symbols of the South? You know, the magnolia, the flag, the guns.
Right, right.
You know, what happens when they're used to tell our story?
Right.
You know, there's been a kind of deputizing of white men for centuries now, you know, for the policing of Black bodies. And what happens when we stand up against that, when we decide that, you know, we also have a right to stand our ground?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you for that video and putting that together. I think it was very, very powerful.
Yeah, thanks for the invitation. This
Very
is such
spiritually
a
medicinal, I would say. The chant, the feeling, the repetition, the rhythm, because repetition, when it's done right, it creates a rhythm, and the rhythm creates a timing, and the timing creates a synchronization that I think moves us in the kind of space I think you were going for. So I totally appreciate that. So
yeah, I think we're wrapped in this deep period of grief,
right.
and I'm happy for the invitation. You know, glad to have a creative problem to solve.
Yeah, well, hey, thank you so much. All right, great. All right, so I want to let's thank Kella one more time. That was very, very powerful. I didn't forget anybody here. I didn't forget you, Kim. Is Steve back in the room?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, let's go back to you, Steve. We know we lost you for a minute.
Okay.
Can we bring you back?
I'm here, sir.
Okay.
Where did you lose
Alyssa,
me?
can you bring him to the foreground? Make him spotlight him for a minute, or do I need to stop sharing? Okay. Can we bring him up? See.
Yes, he's up there. You can just stop sharing.
All right, so we can see you. So we got you on the main screen. Is that what we have right now? Or is it just True Shine?
Yeah, you need to stop sharing your screen.
Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. We're gonna bring you back.
Okay.
All right, cool. All right, so you got that fire going. So let's go ahead and do it real quick before the, you know.
Okay.
Let's do it. Maybe get a little music going.
Let's do it with music.
All right.
Let it go. Burn, bury it. All that's mine. Burn, bury it. Let it go. Let it go. Burn and bury it. All that's mine. We are in very troubled times. This story started many scores ago by the founding fathers, many of whom may have known of the times.
All right.
All right.
We did it.
That's what's up. Thank you so much.
That was a nice burn.
Yeah. Hey, Alyssa, can we bring everybody else's voice in on this real quick? Yeah. Can you guys hear me? Can I hear you?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a very important moment. Thank you for doing that for us live right now. I want to thank you and the continued work you're doing. Wanted to circle back to you and do this right. And when you get, where you at right now? New Hampshire.
I'm in New Hampshire.
All right. That's all right. We're going to start at the top.
Yeah.
Start at the top.
Yeah.
Bring it on down. Well, let's give this guy a round of applause.
Thank you.
Yay!
Here's to you. Here's to all of you.
Now we want to let's go ahead over to Kim real quick, or not so quick. You know, we want to hear from him because he was set up to respond to this, and so let's bring him on as the spotlight real quick. Let's do that. Yeah, let's bring him up front, and yeah.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for doing this, John. Thanks to all the incredible artists who have preceded me and who will precede me in future events, who will follow me in future events. This is a very short piece that I have here, and it was inspired by John's work. He brought a bunch of poets and other folks on to reimagine the song Dixie, and that inspired me to reimagine it in verse here. And so I just want to go. The first part is a modeled on the old grade school reading books, you know, See Jane, See Dick, See Spot Run, etc. And then the second half is in the tune, could be sung to the tune of Dixie if I were a singer, which I am not. So I will just recite it for you. And Dixie is spelled D-I-C-K and the word see. 1. See Dick. See Dixie. See Dixie run. See Dixie run game. 2. White fantasies from the land of cotton don't mean slavery's been forgotten. Look away, look away, look away, Dixieland. And blackface white men would be singing, all the while the whips were swinging. Look away, look away, look away, Dixieland. We hung from trees in Dixie and up south too. Our bodies swayed, white children played beneath the fresh black corpses. Away, away, away up south in Dixie, away, away, away up south in Dixie. Here's a question we need to explore. Which side lost the Civil War? Look away, look away, look away, Dixieland. Black females raped in the land of cotton, old crimes there won't be forgotten. Look away, look away, look away, Dixieland. Whites bred blacks just like cattle. Away, away. Please look up the word chattel. That's what we were in Dixie. Away, away, away up south in Dixie. Away, away, away up south in Dixie. It's dangerous to make truth wait, admit the heritage of hate. Look away, look away, look away, Dixieland. You cut your nose to spite your face, pretending you're a different race. Look away, look away, look away, Dixieland. We all need to see Dixie for what it is. Folks with white skin still have black kin. They don't know because of Dixie. They deny because of Dixie. Look away, look away, look away, Dixieland. That's it.
Ah. Oh, so awesome. That's thank you again. Thank you, Ken.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
All right, now tell us what's going on in Michigan. The state capital.
Wow. So in Michigan was the first state to, as far as I know, to protest the governor trying to keep people alive by asking them to stay home. Death has always been politicized in the United States, but never to the extent where medical folks would say, please stay home. And folks say, we don't want to stay home. And we have we had officials in Texas come out and say, well, it's okay if people die as long as we can make a profit. But what happened in Michigan, basically, between the Confederate flag, the governor being hung in effigy with a nude Barbie doll, and people absorbing, for lack of a better term, Nazi regalia, using that against the governor. These were white supremacist rallies, just straight up. COVID was used as an excuse. People were armed to the teeth, and many, many people have noted that if folks that look like me and other folks in this thing had shown up at the governor's mansion, they came to the governor's house, they came to the governor's mansion, they went to the state capitol armed to the teeth, threatening her. One person's been arrested. If Black folks had done that, there would have been a lot more of us in jail, and the police would have reacted a lot differently. You compare how they reacted to any number of situations in Baltimore and Ferguson, when Black folks were protesting murders, extrajudicial killings. They reacted a lot differently. So this was an inspiration for that, but it's also to say that when you were reworking the melody of Dixie to put it into reggae, to put it into gospel, et cetera, like that, it occurred to me that the essential part, somebody might lose the irony, because there are a lot of folks that don't understand irony in the United States these days. When you have a president that comes on and says, ignores his part in the pandemic and says, oh, well, you can inject bleach. Or when he can stand up and say, when somebody's been murdered, well, you know, the Nazis that were there, the Ku Klux Klan were there, some of them, he can lie about some of those people being quote unquote good people. So we're at a crossroads.
Right.
We're at a serious crossroads. No president has been this pro Ku Klux Klan since the guy who was running during World War I, whose name is escaping me, Woodrow Wilson was right. the last overtly pro Ku Klux Klan president. And now we've come up now into the 21st century, the early part of the 21st century, with another one. So we're at a crossroads, and Black folks, white folks, brown folks, white folks really need to step up, quite honestly. Black folks are not where racist power lies.
Right.
That's white people. And so we can inspire and lead and suggest, but and fight, and we definitely will continue to do that. But just as sexism is in hetero folks like me, men like me, the power to eradicate racism lies in white people that have power and white people that influence those that have power. So it's time to step up.
Wow, thank you. You always got something important to say. to important issues of the day. Appreciate you. Let's give them a round of applause again. Yes. So what I want to do is conclude. Speaking of music and reworking, I have a piece that I hope there will be nothing lost on the irony of my new A Blazing Grace piece that I want to play as a video. And so let me get with that real quick. I'm going to thank you. Let me get this set up. Actually, let's get this set up real quick. All right, here we go. All right. Blazing Grace, this is a piece that I created to kind of respond to the song Amazing Grace, which, you know, is a very complicated song, right? The author of that song, I guess, has some very serious guilt feelings about his relationship to racism and slavery and all of that. And I decided to remix that a little bit and create this piece. Blazing grace, how hot the fire that stirred the light in me. I once was numb, but now I feel. Once was bound, but now I'm free. How bitter the taste of a wretched past. How dark the place, empty souls and lost mind. A blazing grace, how strong the spirit that woke the dead in me. Once I was absent, but now I'm here. Once I was silent, but now I'm here. To stand and fight for freedom and love. To feel the fire of justice and peace. A blazing grace, how good the fire that stirred a light in me. Once, but now I see. Once was bound, but now I'm free. A blazing grace, how good the fire that stirred a light in me. I once was mute, but now I see. Once was bound, but now I'm free. All right. I want to thank everybody. Let's bring everybody to the on deck. All right, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Can I hear you guys all?
Thank you, John.
All right, let's give each other a round of applause, for real.
Yay! Yay!
No, I want to thank you all for being a part of this. Short notice, like Wednesday, I was like, hey, let's pull this together. And you guys came on and made it happen. And I want to thank you all for being a part of this and sharing this energy and help, letting people know that there's a fight happening on all sorts of levels, from within the body, right? From outside the body and everywhere in between. And the role is the artist, the activist, the writer, the poet. You know, we all have a very important work, essential work, as essential workers, to keep the expression and the thinking and the feeling and all that like at the forefront. So I appreciate all of you. I want to thank you, Aaron. That was awesome. Piece you did. I think that was, let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you, Aaron.
Yeah. Sylvia, thank you for that, setting up the tone. Give us that history. Let us know what's going on. This is a every day, every month, and we got to know the history. We got to know what's going on. You know, that's so very important. We got to pay attention to the news. So I'm gonna appreciate you. Let's
Thank you.
Yes.
News clips available.
Yes. And Christine, I want to thank you. With the work we did 5 years ago, and also the work you continued in Tennessee and Nashville, and being able to have a platform to reach all kinds of voices, to tell their stories. That's just so important. Thank you. Let's give you a round of applause. Bo Money. Let's hold it down from Oha. That's right. Yellow Springs, Oha. Yes, thank you for holding it down, man. Way back. You've been on this for a minute. Let's give him a round of applause. Definitely.
Poet!
Yes. Hey, Steve. Let's give it up for Steve for burning that flag.
Yay! Yay! MVP!
MVP, hold it down. Hey, let's give it up to Michaela for making that incredible, magical, meditative, very important speech. You know, sometimes we got to slow it down, you know what I mean? And we got to say it over and over and over and over. Like the heart is going over and over and over. And that's so important, and that's an important thing for us to do in all our processes. And I want to appreciate you bringing that level of depth and slowing the time down for us so that we can recalibrate, We want to get all fast and move around, but sometimes it's the very, very powerful singular things that needs to be renegotiated over and over again. And there's a rhythm to that. And I want to appreciate you for making that happen on short notice and with such power. Awesome. Let's give her another round of applause.
Thank you.
All right, Kim. Thank you for bringing the Dick C. The Reed Dixie, bringing it. Thank you from my whole
we
town.
gotta do that.
From my whole town, the D. Thanks, Kim, for bringing that on.
Yeah.
And I want to
You're welcome. Thank you.
Now, you guys got any questions for each other? I mean, this will be a good time to wrap.
We need to thank our technical person too.
Yo, yeah.
Okay, Alyssa is everything. Yeah. Alyssa is everything. Finger snaps for Alyssa.
Yeah, that's right.
Really special teams and then some.
That's right. That's what's up. So, you guys got any questions for each other?
Michaela, I need to send you a bill for the makeup that I cried off during your piece. I'm going to need that. I need that back.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, definitely.
You were wonderful.
Yeah, anybody got questions for anybody?
Well, I shared in the chat with Brother Kim that I think he should get somebody to perform that piece. I could hear it. I could hear the music in my head. So I'd like to, hear somebody do the singing, parts to it. I think it'd be real powerful to hear that sang out loud.
Right.
And I appreciate that greatly, because I don't know why I didn't think to do that. Because I can't sing it, but I have other other pieces. I have one other piece that's a performance piece, but you're absolutely right. So yeah, I'm going to work on getting somebody to sing that, and maybe we can even. This is getting too ambitious. But
I think
in some of those reworkings, you know, have like there might be a gospel version, there might be a reggae version, there might be a a heavy metal version with those lyrics. But yeah, definitely that needs to happen. And thank you very much for bringing that up, brother. I appreciate that.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Anybody got any questions for themselves? Comments? Come on now.
I had a kind of a question for everyone.
Right.
Kind of as a nonviolent person, the idea of burning a flag that even racists consider their standard, their banner, to burn their flag is to declare war on them. And when I determined that, okay, that's kind of what I'm doing, ain't it? Or responding to a declaration of war by even having the standard. Did you struggle at all with trying to communicate with people who are on the other side of your belief while at the same time knowing that you're right?
Oh, you're talking about
so
yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think we have to start from where this comes from. So this starts from a place of slavery happened in the United States, not just because there were white folks that thought that there were black folks that were less than human. It started from a place of dehumanizing people in order to make money. We keep forgetting that if there was not money to be made, there would not have been like large amounts of white folks getting on ships, which was a hazardous profession in the 17th, 18th, and 19th century and early 20th century, and riding those boats, not at least until the 19th century, riding those wooden rickety boats over here, right? Eating stuff that we wouldn't even want to put have in our garbage to get here. They did all that for money, and the racism was a side piece, right? So it's important to remember the basic dehumanization that's gone on there. So we do have to declare as a species, not just black folks, but Homo sapien, we have to declare war on that mentality that says that people are worth less than money. I mean, that's part of what we're fighting right now with Trump, right? And the lieutenant governor of Texas stood up and said, well, X number of people can die because we're going to make a profit because we don't want the businesses to go down. I mean, it's that mentality, and if we're not at war with that mentality, then it's not just black folks; it's a species. I mean, black and brown folks would be the first to go because we're under the gun. But
it's so funny you should say that. It's so funny you say that. When I did the video that we'll show during this project for. I had to do a piece that included the Elaine riots and the Elaine massacre in Arkansas, Little Rock, where they were having a labor dispute. And so by and large, a white mob attacked a predominantly black township and killed up a bunch of black people. 5 white people were killed. 12 black people were sentenced to die, basically. And the notice that went out to everybody that wasn't arrested is only the bad black people were harmed. We can now return to normal. Go back to work. Stop talking. I actually put that clipping in the video as a reminder that they're arguing about stars on their flag But once upon a time, you actually told people who you tortured and murdered to stop talking and go to work. Oddly enough, that just sounds so familiar and like now. Just strange.
Right. So I want to respond to Kim's comments, but I want to put them in context to Michaela's presentation. You're absolutely right, Kim, when we think about the economic factor, this idea we want to, the money, want to make money in a situation. But there's plenty of situations where people want to make money, but there are major barriers. And so the thing is, you can go to a land and you can try to captivate a group of people, but it's going to take more than just the desire, right? It takes military might. It takes technology, right, that says, I'm going to make you do this. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you go into Africa and they had nuclear weapons, right, it'd be a different kind of discussion. You follow what I'm saying? Right. It'll be a different. So sometimes when you have the desire to enforce power, you do what you can do, whatever your power allows you to do. And so, so when you put that in the context to equity of military power, right? Power to protect your life, right? In the most offensive kind of way, then, we look at Michaela's presentation like, hey, we got guns now. You can't just roll up here and take this and take that and make me do this and make me do that or not make me do that. Now we have, which is going on in Europe all the time, right? It's like French fighting the early Germans fighting the Romans fighting the, military dynamics. And so when you put this in a context when Black folks are saying, look, we need to arm ourselves, protect our spaces, protect our family, not just from a position of moral guilt, like, this is the right thing to do. At some point, because I don't care what you think. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what your economic desires are. We have some boundaries here and we will protect our space. And I think Black folks in this country has been disadvantaged in that in a lot of ways, in terms of how their relationship to self-protection and moving. So I wanted to respond to that because I think that's a very important thing to start thinking about. Also, this question that you brought up, Sylvia, is that, with my work, I started off recoloring the Confederate flag, right? And the irony of that, like, so some people can get different views. So, and so I thought I was saying something very directional. I ended up at a Ku Klux Klan rally, anti-rally, and a brother rolled up to me and he tore up my black, red, green Confederate flag. And he was like, how can you bastardize these sacred colors of black, red, and green with this flag? You follow what I'm saying? I hadn't thought of that, right? And so I pulled back and I'm like, wait a minute, I need to put the work in a bigger context. So that's why I ended up creating this piece called The Proper Way to Hang the Confederate Flag. You see what I'm saying? So I'm going to hang the flag to bring the whole thing to justice. It's not a lynching, it's a hanging, is all of that dynamic. And then the funeral, the burn. So my point is, for my work, it's engaging in an art process that speaks to my pain first. Follow what I'm saying? I can't speak to anybody else's pain unless I speak to my own pain first. Being down here in the South, come from Detroit City, where I'm looking at what the hell is going on down here, right? And then being able to negotiate that, and then try to connect with people who have a different view. Then we have to do it from a position of strength. Like, if you got guns, I got guns. We can talk, but it can't be you got guns, you got jobs, you got the banks, you got everything, blah, 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 blah. Now I'm supposed to have a discussion about flags and no, well, forget the flag. Let's talk about something else. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about other things. And so I think there's some important issues that we had around protection of one's space, and also in some ways, I really feel like we get a sense of real equality when our pathologies are measured in balanced ways. You follow what I'm saying? It's like,
yes.
You kill me, I could kill you. It's that cool? You know, like that's a crazy way to think about it, but your pathologies are measured in a balanced way to my pathologies. And that doesn't happen if you own the banks, the guns, the money, the academy, the language, the pharmacies, blah, 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 blah. And so that's another thing. It's like who creates the hierarchy of social pathologies. So when a Black person does something versus a white person, it can pathologize in very different ways, right down to the culture, right down to the comedy, right down to the comic books, blah, blah, blah. And so the work is just paramount to be able to have those kind of discussions. So yeah, I just wanted to point to that, you know, this kind of work, you know, when I first started off, even some of my own art colleagues are like, why are you doing this? Forget the Ku Klux Klan. Like, why, you know, let's worry about some other stuff. You know what I mean? But I think, hey, if you can't deal with the stuff you can see, how do you deal with the stuff you can't see? And that's been a driving force. And then with the coronavirus, it's like, we got to deal with the stuff we can't see too, but we know that's powerful. So it's dealing with the stuff that's super visible and the things that are also super invisible. And the war is happening on all these different fronts. So we have to have a very incredible system of sight to be able to see the invisible and be able to manage the visible. So that's my thinking.
Facts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think we all are approaching this in a very important way from our own point of view, and it's a collective long-term project. And I'm so happy to have, and I think, you know, Kim, you know, you're hinting at this is it got to be an intergenerational, cross-cultural, you know, across all kinds of platforms, rich, poor. You need people inside the system, people outside the system. It has to happen on so many different fronts to be able to move forward, and hopefully opportunities like this can give us the space to use our art practice, our art energy to make a statement and to inspire and save ourselves. I mean, save myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to save ourselves too in this madness, which I think we do a lot of that in our own work, I hope.
And on that note, John, I have to step downstairs. So,
all right. Well, I want to thank everybody. Let's give yourself another round of applause as we conclude. I want to thank Alyssa for her great work, and yeah, be prepared for next year, every year.
Thank you, John. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, John. Thank you, each and every one.
All right. See you guys next year.
All right.
Good night.